Hello and happy Valentine's Day. Welcome to Norwood News. Today is Friday, February 14th, and I'm your host, Kristen McDonald. This week on Norwood News, the lead students are chefing it up. We meet the new superintendent of recreation. The senior center has a packed schedule. But first, earlier this week, Mustang Sally visited the Skating Club of Boston and did what she does best, bring smiles and comfort to those around her.
This actually started while going through Sally's social media pages, and I actually saw one of the Sally's followers talking about how the skaters were out there, the figure skaters, and how they were more than likely still hurting, and how they would really benefit from Sally visiting them. Everybody was, of course, looking at Sally and excited. As soon as she relayed to them why Sally was there, there was a lot of excitement. There was definitely some, there were some tears shed, just through that appreciation. One of the skaters who we saw, doing his performance, practicing, came off the ice and right towards Sally, and he tried to ask her if she wanted to come with him, and he was like, come on. And he asked, can I bring her onto the ice? I go, yeah, absolutely. I don't think she's ever been on the ice. At first, Sally didn't know what to do, but then he gave her some time, came back, and then she just bolted onto the ice with him, and then he started doing his routine, and she was right there with him. So she loved it. Then she didn't want to get off. For me, it was like watching a movie. It was less. It really, I had less to do with it. I was really just sitting back and letting Sally go out to the different people, and then they would have their time with Sally and so on. And it was, it was a very emotional experience, and I was really happy and proud of Sally, what she was able to do, just really be able to break any bubble or go across any bridge, and she would go up to the people and kind of let them either accept her in or not. So it was amazing, and I would definitely do it again if they wanted us back.
The director of the Norwood Senior Center, Carrie McCarthy, delivers the update about what is happening at the center for the next month.
Hello everyone, Carrie McCarthy, director of the Norwood Senior Center, here to give you a few updates for the rest of February and ongoing in March. On February 18th, we will have Glooly Funeral Home here, doing a lunch and learn at 12:30. You need to just call and sign up, and they're going to go all the ins and outs of planning your final arrangements. And then on Friday, February 21st at 12:30, we're going to be remembering our longtime friend, Bill McCoy. We're going to have a light lunch, share some laughs, listen to some of his music, and just really get together and talk about all the wonderful things Bill McCoy did for the Norwood Senior Center and for the town of Norwood. Then we're going to move on to March. March is always a fun, festive month here at the Senior Center. And we're going to start our St. Patrick's Day celebration on March 11th, when we will have a harpist, Shelley Otis, will be here talking about the history of the Irish harp. That is on March 11th. Please sign up for that. Then on March 14th, Friday at 12 noon, is our annual St. Patrick's Day luncheon with music from the Black Velvet Band. Thank you to the Norwood Women's Club for sponsoring our entertainment. Sign-ups for our St. Patrick's Day luncheon is going to be on Wednesday, March 5th, and the cost is $10. And then on March 17th, we're going to have a special treat from the Harney School of Music and Performance, and they are going to come and do some Irish step dancing for us on St. Patrick's Day at 11:15. And that is sponsored by the Friends of the Norwood Council on Aging. Lots of fun stuff happening here at the Senior Center. Tax appointments are still going on. We do have a wait list at this time, but you're welcome to put your name on it. And fuel assistance is still going strong, so please, if you need some help with your fuel, give Kathleen Rooney, our outreach coordinator, a call and she will assist you with the application. Thank you, and we hope to see you this month.
When Norwood News returns, the lead students make a Valentine's Day treat with some help from the school nutrition department. We catch up on the real estate activity from the Norfolk Register of Deeds, and we get the latest in sports from Ron Marshalsea.
Hi, I'm Bob Donnelly,
I'm Pat Chick.
and we are from the Norwood Concert Committee, and we'd like to tell you a little bit about the upcoming winter concert series taking place at Norwood High School. We're going to end our series on February the 16th, again at 2 o'clock, Sunday afternoon at Norwood High School, with the Silver Spears. So a couple of years ago, we decided that maybe we want to vary the concert program a little bit and maybe have some music that's a little different than our standard big bands or jazz bands. So the Silver Spears are a four-piece band, mostly Celtic and Irish music with a little bit of country and some rock and roll mixed in it too. Last year they played and they were a big hit, so we invited them back to close out our series on February the 16th.
Yes, with the tin whistle, and it's wonderful. We do enjoy the people when they come Sunday afternoons for dancing in the aisles, and it's a good place to do your exercise and get your steps in, and appreciate the relaxing music.
It's warm and it's free and it's open to anyone who's available to come on down to the high school on a nice winter Sunday afternoon.
The Norfolk County Register of Deeds, Bill O'Donnell, recently issued a press release which found that the Norfolk County recordings for 2024 show greater real estate activity than that in 2023, and both increasing the total number of deeds and mortgages recorded. Register of Deeds Bill O'Donnell explains that the overall number of deeds recorded monthly in 2024 compared to 2023 reveals a consistent positive trend, with only 2 months out of the 12 showing fewer deed recordings than the previous year. This indicates that the real estate market is performing decently, particularly in certain neighborhoods and property types in area communities. According to the press release, the property sales prices in 2024 have increased up to 6% from 2023, leaving the average sale price for commercial and residential properties at $1,149,809. O'Donnell concluded that overall, the real estate market remains steady in 2024, with a slight rise in activity in the second half of the year compared to 2023. As we move into 2025, we hope to see real estate activity continue to rise as we wait to see how mortgage interest rates and the inventory of available property impact the real estate market. To learn more info about the Registry of Deeds, visit www.norfolkdeeds.org. The LEAD program teamed up with the school nutrition department to bring Valentine's treats around the Savage Center.
The students are learning cooking skills as one of the life skills that we teach in the LEAD program, and we have been, working with the food service, and over the last few months, they have been really helpful, coming up with some activities so that our kids can learn cutting skills and how to make like omelets and how to make breakfast sandwiches. And now today we're making smoothies and chocolate-covered strawberries because it's Valentine's Day. So food service has been fantastic and helpful, and this really adds to the experience the kids get to have.
So what we're doing is a little bit of a hands-on cooking lesson with the kids. So we're doing some basic knife skills to start, and then we use that as an opportunity to make breakfast for the Savage Center staff. So we learned a little about holding knives properly, cut prevention, keeping food safe, and then we put the kids to work. So we got our friends from LEAD and they made smoothies. They made banana and strawberry smoothies, and we also had them make blueberry spinach smoothies. So we talk about fresh fruit, fresh yogurt, making smoothies, and putting the kids to work.
We're learning how to cook, cut, and make smoothies because in the future, if we're working at a restaurant or something, it'll be good to learn how to cut safely without cutting yourself.
So this is the second one we've done. The first one we did a full-blown breakfast with potatoes and sausage, and we did bagel sandwiches. So we want to do this monthly, do something, learn on some different topics, basic kitchen safety, giving some skills, things that some people take for granted.
Yeah, so we're helping out the teachers in the school to help out because I'm the best chef ever.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Not Eli?
Not Eli.
Okay.
Oh yeah. I'm just like Bobby Slay. Hey!
Oh, it's perfect that we're in the same building. We see them every day, and we've had a relationship with them for years, and they like our kids, and the kids like them, and they've been wonderful. So.
Well, I just love learning how to make the smoothies.
Now let's toss it over to Caitlin Hamway for the latest in school news.
I'm Caitlin Hamway, and let's take a look at what's happening in our Norwood schools. In Norwood High School news, students in Molly Uppencamp's AP African American Studies class wanted to teach others about some lesser-known important people from Black history in recognition of Black History Month. They chose important people, conducted research, and made graphics to help spread the word about contributions of these remarkable Black leaders from history. The graphics were displayed on the hallway monitors and featured on NHS Update. Here is an example.
Frances Ellen Watkins Harper, a lecturer, poet, and an Underground Railroad guide. Wrote and published 3 poetry books, traveled the US and Canada for 8 years as a lecturer, advocate for women's suffrage, and lived in Underground Railroad station and donated money from her books to the organization.
The Coakley Middle School also celebrated Black History Month and used this as an opportunity to highlight both the champions and challenges of Black and American history. As a way to understand the importance of the right to vote and how racial discrimination had limited voting rights of persons of color, students in Mr. Chambers' class were given a version of a voter registration test and provided primary documents to help them understand the challenges Black voters faced during the Jim Crow era. The Bulge 5th graders did an explanation to answer the question, has a chemical reaction taken place? They made a mixture of hydrogen peroxide and yeast. They measured and recorded the temperature of the hydrogen peroxide before adding the yeast, made observations and took the temperature again after adding the yeast. In addition to the bubbles that formed, the temperature of the solution increased. They did the same thing with baking soda and vinegar, and this time discovered that the temperature decreased. Since they formed a new substance and recorded a change in temperature, they knew that a chemical reaction had taken place. For another exploration in their unit, they're going to choose different materials to mix together to determine whether a chemical reaction will take place. Stay tuned to hear about the results. At the Callahan School, 12 5th grade students and members of the Student Council presented to classes at their first assembly in the classroom last week. They talked about perseverance, the monthly theme, and presented ST math certificates to 2 students in each homeroom who showed the most growth. At the Cleveland School, Erica Rodriguez, Student Engagement Manager for the School Nutrition Department, introduced hydroponics to the school's 3rd grade. Students learned about growing plants without soil and helped plant lettuce, peppers, cucumbers, and a variety of herbs in the garden tower. The Oldham PTO hosted its first Oldham's Got Talent show. Over 100 people attended to watch the 16 acts take the stage. Acts represented students from all grades and included stand-up comedy, dance, singing, musical instruments, and ventriloquism. Thanks to Carrie Pritchard, who was MC for the event, and the 3 Oldham alumni CMS students who served as our celebrity judges. It was a great night celebrating arts in the Oldham community. This week, in partnership with NPS School Nutrition, the Prescott School became the first school in Norwood to use reusable trays in the cafeteria. Prescott partnered with a company called Redish to pick up the dirty trays and drop off clean ones each day. At lunches, students talked about reducing waste to the landfill and how this helps the environment. The students have adjusted well to the new cafeteria routines, and everyone is loving the tray design that the Prescott Student Council chose. In Fine Arts News, we are proud to announce that NHS students have been accepted into music festivals by auditions. Here is NHS Choral Director Jennifer Hartnett with the details.
On November 23rd, 23 of our Norwood Mustangs auditioned for a spot in the Southeast District Mixed Chorus, Treble Chorus, Orchestra, Band, or Jazz Band. They have a prepared piece, sight reading and scales, which they perform in front of a judge who is a professional musician in the specific voice or instrument. 19 of our Mustangs were accepted. The performance was at New Bedford High School on January 11th. If a student scores in the top 10% of their room at districts, they receive an all-state recommendation, noted with an asterisk on the list. The acceptance process is the same, except the prepared piece, scales, and sight reading are all much more difficult. 8 of our students auditioned and 3 were accepted. Freshman Jacqueline Varney, junior Caden Bell, and senior Georgia Demby earned a spot in the mixed chorus and will perform at Symphony Hall on March 29th. Finally, we have 2 national festivals this year: American Choral Directors Association, or ACDA, and National Association for Music Education, or NAFME. For NAFME, students are chosen based on their involvement in music in their own communities. For ACDA, students submitted a required piece of music, a section of their choice. These 2 festivals are extremely competitive. 2 of our seniors, Lindsay Collins and Sebastian Eugene, were both accepted into both of these festivals. ACDA takes place in Dallas, Texas from March 19th through the 22nd, and NAFME is in Hartford, Connecticut from April 24th through the 26th. We all in the music department are very proud of our young musicians. Congratulations.
Kindergarten students at the Willett Early Childhood Center celebrated the 100th day of school this week. Classrooms celebrated by creating collections of 100 objects, popping 100 balloons, making 100th day heroes, capes, and lots of crowns, glasses, and posters. There were 100 GGs, our ST Math Penguin hidden throughout the school, and students went on a scavenger hunt with a 100-number grid to see if they could find them all. Our librarian, Miss Landry, even made a pile of 100 books. The staff at the Willett is so proud of how far these amazing students have come and can't wait to see what great things the rest of the year has in store. The youngest Mustangs at Little Mustang Preschool Academy celebrated Valentine's Day by exploring different ways to be a good friend. Through books and engaging activities, they learned about sharing, taking turns, showing kindness, helping others, and caring for one another. They enjoyed fine motor activities like creating beaded bracelets for friends and using scissors to cut tissue paper strips for heart sun catchers. The Little Mustangs also practiced their phonics skills by singing a Valentine's Day song and learning to spell heart. Their favorite activity was making special hearts for each friend and filling them with heartful compliments. That's it for school news this week. We appreciate all the teachers who take the time to share their news with us. It helps provide us with an inside look at what's happening in our classrooms. Reporting from Norwood School News, I'm Caitlin Hamway. Now let's send it over to Ron Marshalsea with your latest in sports.
I'm Ron Marshalsea, and this is your sports update. The girls' basketball team is 14-3 after massive wins over Westwood 62-33 and Dedham 49-29. Ari Blake, Lily Cordani, and Izzy Morgan played outstanding defense against Westwood, and Ava O'Neill and Ava Morad were honored against Dedham for senior night. They are at Holliston on Valentine's Day at 6 o'clock and then play Wachusett on the 15th at 12:30 at Emmanuel College. The boys' basketball team sit at 13-5 after a real close loss to Westwood. They host Holliston on the 13th at 7, then they're at Bedford on the 19th for their final regular season game at 5 o'clock. The girls' hockey team took down the Clockers when they went to Ashland last Saturday 5-1. 4 different Mustangs scored the 5 goals: Michaela Brown, Emily Spadorsha, Mackenzie Conley, and 2 from Isla Wilson. They play Dedham on Saturday the 15th at 2:30, and then they'll be taking the ferry to Martha's Vineyard on Monday the 17th for a 1 o'clock matchup with the Vineyarders. The boys hockey team sit right at 500 after a big win over Westwood at home 3-2, lost to Franklin, and bounced back on senior night with a 4-2 win over Hopkinton. Ryan Valeri, Jacob Sheehan, and Sviat Antipkin netted the 3 goals for Norwood against Westwood. Antipkin, Braden Lee, Mark Trahan, and TJ Martin scored against Hopkinton. Mark Trahan had arguably the goal of the night when he went almost coast to coast to score this goal.
Mark here. He's going to curl in on the middle, looking for a breakout. Enters the neutral zone. Gaining a little speed here, going to the offensive zone. Cuts to the left side, through his legs and scores! Mark Trahan!
That was a nice little rush there.
3-0 Norwood. What a beautiful goal there by Mark.
Brody Foley was big in net for all 3 games and had a total of 52 saves across both the Westwood and Franklin games. The Mustangs head to KP for their final game of the season on the 19th at 1 o'clock. The wrestling team had a 3-0 sweep at home against Walpole 70-12, Whitman Hanson 48-22, and Bristol Plymouth 42-40. They finished the regular season with a 17-9 record. The gymnastics team couldn't get the win at the TVL matchup with Medfield, Medway, and Norton. The genie of the TVL meet went to senior captain Kate Broderick, who has been a vital part of the gymnastics team for the last 4 years. And that is all I have for this sports update. I'm Ron Marshalsea, and Norwood News will be right back after this break.
The Middle School Building Committee met this week, and Luca Pone from Vertex delivered a project update stating that the blue panels are forming the area of the media center on the 2nd floor, and the concession stand is beginning to take form. The final wall graphics have also been installed in the gymnasium. Purchase orders regarding Dell laptops for teachers and new facilities radio systems for schools were both approved by the committee. The Middle School Building Committee will meet again on Monday, March 10th. At the Library Trustees meeting, Director of Youth Services, Katie Teague, briefed the board about a potential reorganization of collections in the Children's Department. The move would take place in the fall and would require the help of other departments to help facilitate that move. The Board of Selectmen met in the Willett Room of the Civic Tuesday night due to a problem with Town Hall's boiler. In their temporary chambers, the board contemplated whether or not to opt out of mail-in voting for local town elections. Town Clerk Mary Lou Follin presented to the Selectmen.
Back in 2024, the state covered all the cost to mail out the applications that was sent out that whole year. And as of April of last year, we had 3,368 people request ballots, which included the local election, which was held in April. And the cost to mail out those ballots was around $2,323. And we only received back 1,244 of those ballots, which was like a third of what we had sent out. And the turnout for the town election typically is low. And in 2024, with the ballots that were mailed out, we only had a 12% turnout for the local election. 2023, we only had a 13% turnout. So those are just some of the years that, what we had and stuff. Last year, like I said, all the voters received an application which was paid by the state. And if we were to do that again this year, the cost would probably be around $16,000 if we did mail out one to every single voter in the town.
I'm a little torn because I understand we don't want to spend money we don't need to spend, and the work on the department when you don't feel you're getting return. But I also have the philosophy of trying to make things as open as possible for people to participate. And when I look at the numbers, again, unless I'm got something wrong here, you mailed out 3,300 ballots for the town election. 1,200 were returned. 2,200 voted, which means 50% took advantage of the mail-in. And it was only a 12% turnout. What are we going to get if we make things more difficult for people to turn out? We're already trying to find ways of encouraging voting, not discouraging voting.
The board ultimately decided to keep mail-in voting. The chiefs of police and fire also appeared before the board to provide monthly reports. Later in the meeting, Town Manager Tony Mazzucco presented an FY26 general government budget slideshow. Towards the end of the presentation, Selectman Plasko had some notes on potential cuts.
I think you mentioned the community development small amount, $7,000 or something.
10 grand for land acquisition.
I could see us cutting that. It's a small amount of money, but the state rep just got the chamber that we use that money for over $500, almost $600,000 in the budget this year. I don't know that they're penniless as they've been in the past and need our $7,000. So there's a lot more here. I think we need to start making cuts. I don't think we can go to the people. We have some programs that I consider duplicate, like we have 2 pools That's wonderful when times are great. But when reality hits, we can only afford one pool. So we don't want to have no pools. We don't want to get to that budget 2 years down the road that we have to make such cuts that we have no pools. So we cut the one pool now. And if we position ourselves appropriately, then we can do some of those things you showed coming up in the future. Instead of saying, oh, we can't do them. We can if we balance things today and project appropriately going forward. So it doesn't mean we have to panic. It doesn't mean we can't still do things in the future. But it does mean that if we don't prepare for it today and don't look at it seriously, if we just worry about today and don't worry about tomorrow, then we're going to have problems.
The Board of Selectmen will meet again on February 25th. The school committee met at the Savage Center Wednesday night. Vice Chair Teresa Stewart filled in for Anne Marie Missoula as acting chair for the meeting. The only appearance of the evening was Norwood High teachers Elizabeth Mullaney and Socorro Lowe McLaurin requesting permission for a field trip to Peru for 15 high school students, which was approved unanimously. Superintendent Luff then delivered his report on entry findings, followed by a budget subcommittee update and a preliminary budget update. High school principal Dr. Hugh Galligan delivered enrollment numbers and estimated class sizes for classes at the high school. Coakley principal Dr. Frasick also presented enrollment numbers for CMS and discussed the scheduling plan for the 5th graders at the new middle school. The 5th graders will travel as a group to each class with their homeroom, unlike 6th through 8th graders who go from class to class on their own, and no 2 grades will have lunch at the same time in the same lunchroom. Afterwards, Assistant Superintendent of Finance and Operations, Sean Mannion, shared a cost center review which proposed fee increases for athletics, fine arts, and bus transportation. The committee expressed their discomfort with raising any fees, but were on board with increasing late registration fees to incentivize people to sign up on time. Toward the end of the meeting, there was a Title IX policy update where Superintendent Luff explained the committee had to decide whether to revert the Title IX policy of 2022 or keep everything the same and wait for more guidance from the state.
When the new laws went into effect at the federal level in 2024, they protected sex-based discrimination and harassment and added gender identity into that mix. When the new administration came in, there's this comment and this notion that there are only 2 genders and that there are no, these policies, as well as a court ruling, that these policies should not protect sexual-based discrimination on behalf of folks for gender identity. So this now reverts back to the 2021, they're reverting back to the 2021 laws that still protect sex-based discrimination, sexual harassment. But it's not that the sexual harassment under federal law is not protecting gender identity, right? Having said that, there are still anti-discrimination clauses in Massachusetts law that protect gender identity.
Right.
And so we are still not allowed to discriminate based on that. With this, we wouldn't have to follow the same procedural guidelines that the federal government requires us to do in Title IX investigations or other issues of sexual harassment. That is not to say that we would not investigate thoroughly any issues related to sexual harassment or discrimination on the basis of gender identity. We would. It just wouldn't fall under Title IX anymore.
So, okay, is your motion the second part of the action requested? So a motion to not vote for these new policies, in which case administration will continue to follow the previous procedures until such a time that we hear more information.
Yes. It's in the memo, Donna. Sorry.
You see it, the second part? Okay. So I will second that motion. Is there further discussion?
Does David have anything?
Okay, if there's no discussion, we can vote. Again, I'll individually poll. So David?
Yes. Hang on, what is a yes vote, Clark?
So a yes is saying we are not taking any action on the policies tonight. Everything is being paused until we have more information, but Tim and the administration will follow the previous procedures.
I just was making,
Yep.
we went around in a couple of sections, so I just want to make sure.
All right, so I'm sorry, David, you said yes? You did?
He
Okay.
said yes.
All right, thank you. Kate?
Yes.
Joan?
No.
I'm a yes, so that does pass 3-1.
School committee will meet again on March 5th. The Zoning Board of Appeals met Tuesday night and held 4 public hearings. The first was a special permit request for a single-family home addition on Winter Street, which was approved by the board. Another proposed project for a solar PV facility and landfill use was discussed, and members of the public expressed their concerns for not having members of the Light Department or town engineer there to answer questions. The board voted to approve the plans presented in the project, and if there are any modifications, they must return to the board. A public hearing for the commercial addition to 707 Neponset Street was motioned to be continued to the next meeting on March 4th. A variance modification request for 241 Pleasant Street was discussed, which the board motioned to deny. The next Zoning Board of Appeals will meet again on Tuesday, March 4th. Acting Recreation Superintendent Sam White has officially been named the new Superintendent of Recreation. Sam is excited to take on the new role and shares what the department is planning for the spring.
I feel very happy. I mean, it's been a pleasure working for the Recreation Department for the past 3 years. I'm very excited to be in this position. I just can't wait to see where this next chapter takes me. So I'm originally from Vermont, a small town called Pulteney. It's right on the New York border. I went to LaSalle College at the time, it's university now in Waltham, Massachusetts. And then I returned back up to Vermont to Castleton University to get my master's degree, and I just ended up in Norwood with my girlfriend a few years ago, and now we both live and work in Norwood. So the Spring and Summer Guide is out now. It should be hitting mailboxes any day now. We're getting ready for our staple events, such as our Easter egg hunt, Wings and Wheels. We're doing a glow-in-the-dark Easter egg hunt as well. We have our dance recital coming up, so we have a lot in store for this spring. So currently they are buttoning up the pump room and maintenance shed for Haas Pool. Once the weather clears up a little bit, we get a little more warmer weather coming in, we're going to they're going to start the pouring of the spray pad and the pool deck itself. So it's still set on track. Everything's going well, and we're looking forward to our grand opening date of June 18th from 2 to 5. I just want to say to everybody, all our residents, thank you again for the support. It's been amazing. We're going to continue bringing staple programs, activities, events, and just can't wait to see where we go from here.
If you've ever needed some help with a home project or just need some advice, one option for Norwood residents to call is Joe Sarno. In our latest Living Local segment, we get to know Joe Can Do That.
Joe Sarno, a Norwood resident and home improvement contractor here in town, has been helping people's to-do projects get done for the last 9 years with his business, Joe Can Do That. But who is Joe, and what exactly can Joe do?
What can Joe do? So Joe Can Do That is I'm a contractor, but I focus on small jobs. So basically windows, doors, general remodeling. I don't do any of the big stuff. I'm basically a one-man show. I'm licensed insured. I have the stuff that I need to do everything that I could do. I just don't want to take on the bigger jobs unless I have to. I have some great subs that I can rely on when I need them, and then I have my uncle's a general contractor up in the North Shore, so when I have some bigger jobs, we work together, and it works great because we can collaborate and work well together, and he comes down. So I grew up with my uncle and my other uncle, both in the trades. One was a mechanic, and the other one was an electrician as well as a contractor. And I actually ran a garage back in the late 80s, early 90s, because I thought I was going to stay in the trades and be a mechanic, and that's what I was going to do. I did it through high school and graduated, and then sometime mid-90s-ish, we closed the garage down, and I decided to go back to college and say, I'm going to go get an education and do something different. But always still kind of stayed with the trades, just kind of like an extra job, weekends job, and then long story short, fell back into it about 10 years ago, and just kind of wish I stayed with it 30 years ago, as they all say.
Joe understands the importance of communication with customers, and he feels that's part of what separates him from other businesses.
I present my business much more of almost like a coach, right? So I like to help people. I like to my favorite part of the job is helping people understand, I don't upsell you, basically. It's like I want to come in and, basically say, what do you actually need, what needs to get done, and what can be done, and educate them a little bit about what's happening. This is why I have to do this, and this is how you do it. As you can tell, I like to talk. So I, love to kind of have those conversations with people, make them feel comfortable. And, and also focusing on a lot of the jobs that a lot of the big guys don't have time to do. It's not that they can or want, it's just they don't have time. They're focusing on banging out houses left and right, or bigger additions and stuff. They don't have the bandwidth to do some of the smaller stuff. And, I found it as a great niche because it's not just, that anybody can pick up a hammer and do it. You also have to trust the person in your house, right? You have to know who's going to be coming there and feel that they're going to be reliable, right? And you got to feel like, pardon my French, but they're not going to get screwed. It's like there's a bad rap. A lot of times, people who do come in and do smaller jobs, they're fly by night, and you just don't know what you're going to get. Give me a shot, give me a call. I'm happy to help. I will be honest, I'm always busy. So sometimes there's been moments I felt like it's been Joe can't do that because I've just had so much business. But I'm always willing to at least advise and help.
Helping others is Joe's favorite part of the job. And if he can be that trustworthy, knowledgeable person for people to turn to, he definitely will.
Number one is helping people. I mean, that's why I got into it. These people want trustworthy people here. It's like, and I know, it's the way the Joe can do that. My wife would always basically be, before I started, it would be like all our friends, family, everybody else, oh, Joe can do that. Oh, Joe can do that. And I'm like, my God, Brooke, I got stuff to do here, right? But that's kind of where it came from. And it's like, so when I decided, we're like, what's a name? And my wife's like, what about Joe can do that? And I'm like, oh, the website's available.
While you'll see Joe can do that in the surrounding communities, he'll always agree there's nothing like being in the town of Norwood.
I love Norwood because it's a true working class town. It's a great town. My wife's family's been from Norwood. This is the typical Norwoodian kind of, heritage here. Her family goes back to the late 1800s from South Norwood. And it's just I haven't met anybody from the town that is not willing to just step in and help whatever's needed. I was close. I always use this as a great example of why I love Norwood when we moved there. So my wife's family, her mother and was very close with the Coopers, Bernie Cooper. When I came to town, obviously we got to meet, I had to go see Bernie. And I remember I was downtown one time and, my daughter makes fun of me because I still stop and help people. And I'm like, even though people have cell phones, I'm that person. So the same thing happened. It was a snowstorm. I'm downtown and this woman's at a set of lights and her windshield wiper flipped off her car and it was just like she couldn't see anything. So I pull over, I'm over there trying to help and here comes Bernie coming walking out too. And he's like, see, we're both out there helping this woman get her windshield wiper back on and so she could drive home, and she was still grateful and thankful. And I'm like, and that again made me think about this is the great town. It's like there's people like Bernie, he thinks like me, this is awesome, and so ever since then, I've always tried to be, I'm a town meeting member. I want to get part of the town. Just what can I do to help support our community? It's our community.
You can find more about Joe on his Facebook page and website, joecandothat.com. The next time you run into a problem or just want to liven your living space, just remember, Joe can do that.
Well, that's all for Norwood News. To stay up to date with Norwood Community Media, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. As always, thank you so much for watching. Have a great weekend.